Yeah, so I'd like to share some feedback with you. What? Yeah, I got some feedback I wanted to share with you. Am I in trouble? No, I just have some feedback. Have a seat. Ah. We've all had people in our lives that we have one stage or another had that conversation with us, sat us down. Usually it's a boss or direct supervisor. And what follows is not a very good conversation at all. Because at the end of the day, feedback means you're in trouble. You've done something wrong. I have to tell you what you did wrong. I have to write you up. I have to threaten your job, your livelihood. And it might start off as friendly, but at the end of the day, it's anything but. So even if someone wants to share positive feedback, hey, I have some feedback I want to give to you, or do you mind if I share some feedback with you? Always starts off with a negative impression. I was thinking about this, and it's accurate, right? At the end of the day, I have a good friend. She means well, but almost every time I have an episode come out of my podcast and we are together, anytime in relation to that release, she starts off with, hey, I listened to your new podcast. I've got some feedback if you'd like to hear it. Well, what am I going to say? No, I don't want to listen to your feedback because every time you give me feedback, it pretty much sucks. And it makes me feel like this tall. I'm already only this tall, so it's like, what the heck? It is a situation where I have been thinking a lot about this. Actually, I was listening to a podcast over the weekend. And I was thinking about how we change the course of how people receive feedback. Now, there's a whole class I could probably give on this, right? But at the end of the day, hey, do you mind if I share some feedback? If you listen to that, there's already this, hey, you poor little weak individual that don't know that you're out there screwing up. I am here to save you. The tone, the approach, everything. What if we change the narrative completely to only provide the positive feedback? And if you could do that, even if that person is doing something that you know that you might have an opinion that they should do better, don't give it, at least not yet. Set the groundwork. 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 instances where you're sharing something significantly positive with them about what they're doing, their work performance, their attitude, their approach, whatever it is. Find that positive, shine the light on it. And now when you actually do have to sit down and say, hey, I had some thoughts on that presentation you gave or that project that you delivered, a couple of things that I think maybe for the next time you might want to know. Now you come across as helpful, you come across as sincere and authentic, and you absolutely capture their attention. Because what happens the other way is that we really don't hear anything but the negative, negative, negative. Oh my God, I'm in trouble. Oh my God, I did something wrong. Oh my God, this is not going to go well. And so we are already at heightened alert, no matter how well-intentioned that feedback might be. We automatically have already set the table that we are going to get our hand slapped. And so we only hear a third of what gets said, and we probably fixate and focus on the negative of what does get said. So what about changing that narrative? What about changing that perspective? You know what? I want to be that guy that gives you positive reinforcement. I want to be that guy that always builds you up, not knocks you down. I want to be that person who creates that positive ripple. So here's how you phrase it. I want to give you some positive feedback. Hear my voice connotation, the uptick, the approach. Hey, I want to give you some positive feedback. There won't be followed by negative feedback, so don't worry. It's not coming as a forward positive and then slam, as my family likes to say I'm very good at. And so I'm trying to be better. But at the end of the day, if you just say, look, I want to focus on that positive, and you set the table correctly for that conversation, say, hey, I want to give you some positive feedback on that presentation, that job interview, that project that you delivered, or how you handled that situation or came up with that solution to that problem. Genius! Absolutely genius. When you do it, you build that person up. You help them find their confidence. You help them Recognize that somebody is paying attention, not for everything that they do wrong. And let's face it, we all do something wrong at every turn. I was just at a speaking engagement. I know a dozen things I probably did wrong. But thankfully, the person that hired me knows about positive feedback. She didn't concentrate or focus on that. She didn't worry about trying to put me in my place. She wanted me to feel good because she knew what I had done. She saw the results. The feedback I got from the people that were in the event were fantastic. And so that made me feel like $1 million, more or less maybe $1 bajillion. But at the end of the day, I walked out of there riding high, rolling. The reality is I felt so good and I felt great. So even when I go back and I think about those things that I could have done better, or I should have phrased differently, or that moment I could have captured a little bit better, I don't feel like I'm coming from a source of negative. You know, the La Brea tar pits where they say dinosaurs fell in? That's what feedback tends to be. When we actually think that we are being admonished for something not well, that we didn't do well, or that we should have done better, we feel like our foot's in and the rest of our body is being dragged in. And then we feel horrible about the experience. We will always have that mental frame of reference to whatever it was, because that person sort of used it as an opportunity to kind of just put you back in your place. But why don't we create a positive ripple and do it differently? Why don't we try something different and do it in a way that really makes a difference? Hey, I got some really positive feedback for you. Do you have a time? Can I share it with you now? Or do you want me to set up a time on your calendar? Or how do you want to do it? But I can't wait to give it to you. Now that sets the table. That makes a difference. And my friends, that creates a positive ripple. Go out there, make a difference in the world, make a difference in someone's life, and you will make a difference in your own life. And as always, ripple on.